live and only 48 minutes late this morning from the parking lot of
please. It's too ugly.
In the urban sprawl of the parking lot of Sprouts. It is Boxing Day, the day after.
So Lon's, because I'm the servant of the house, Lon's going to buy me a present.
That's right.
I got a new calendar.
We've got a new calendar. Well, every Boxing Day, Constance and I, for the last 56 years of our marriage, on Boxing Day.
He's making this up. He's going to lie. I can tell.
We both get into our alligator slippers, okay, and we're dressed in our bathrobes and with little cups of cocoa, and we light up the Christmas tree, and we stand in front of the Christmas tree on Boxing Day.
And we the workers' flag is deepest red.
And we get out the family Marquis de Queensberry book passed down from generations in the DuQuettes, and then we try to hit each other in the face with our fists.
What?
It's great fun.
I thought we were going to sing the workers' flag is deepest red because it's a...
afterwards, we fall in...
It's a gift day to the workers.
That's right.
Of your estate. Okay, I don't understand what you said at all. So
it's
obviously they're going to...
Boxing Day.
This is a great relief because whatever I'm going to say is going to make sense compared to that.
Well, there she is. And I'm sitting here like a damn fool.
We've been cracking each other up with that all last 2 days.
Just don't want to be a damn fool. Okay, here she is. She won, actually. She landed. It grazed me, and then we fall into.
That's why he's dingy. And I'm.
Okay, so I'm going to try not to shut it off like I usually do. I'm going to turn it around. There I am. Oh, no. There she is.
Happy Tuesday. I am delivering my Sprouts Christmas card, which now has to be a New Year's card. It's a thank you card to everybody who works so hard and does a good job and helps us buy food. It's kind of the least you can do to people who are overworked and underpaid and have to drive far to work. Anyway, I don't get to... New Year's is probably Monday, I'm assuming. What do I know? I haven't looked at my new calendar.
Look at that new...
July. So I don't think I'll get to talk to you before New Year's. So, and because I thought of that, and whatever pops into my head to talk about is what you're going to get.
Oh, Lord.
So I thought about talking about a theme for New Year's. I mean, of course, this is the theme I'd like to go for, at least today. I'll who sticks to that anyway? I'm not talking about resolutions or anything, but a theme of reoccurring thought and purpose. I'm going for expansion here. As if you stood on a cliff overlooking the Grand Canyon, are you the kind of person, not that either way is good or bad, who says, oh my God, I feel so infinitesimal and helpless, and the little dot in the middle, totally helpless. You feel which is not unlike a Hadith, I would probably think. Maybe the tiny little point. But the thing is, or do you stand on the cliff? And I'm sorry, but I'm from the prairie, so I like this idea better. Stand on the cliff and go, thank God, I can at least now breathe and spread my wings and just fly and be at every place all at once. I get really big, so that's kind of
very New Edish.
Well,
yeah.
It just comes from if you're born on the prairie. But anyway, that's kind of what I want to talk about. So, and we're all on some kind of path, and I assume that the path, whatever you call it, the beginning of the path is to try to know yourself, and at the end of the path, you know yourself. So the beginning and the end are sort of the same. But it's the journey that counts. There is joy in the setting out, there is joy in the journey, there is joy in the goal, to quote the holy books, hopefully. Anyway, the way, in a way to know yourself, there's lots of, obviously, infinite number of paths that people are going to take. And you can study all sorts of things and maybe even try to psychology on yourself or ask people for readings for you or any help you can get. But one way is to expand. And Lon recently put up this wonderful Crowley quotation, which I'm only going to explain one sentence in the middle vaguely, that the way to know yourself is to get rid of your sense of separateness.
Aha.
Which sounds so opposite, but uniting with the many and expanding. So I'm saying maybe we should just gobble up, get really big, and open locate our jaws like a big snake, and swallow the universe, swallow existence whole, good and bad. That's how you expand, and become united with everything, and spit out the pits and the non-nourishing parts after you've used it up.
That's quite exclamatory.
No, it's before the exclamatory. You don't have to. Anyway.
Yes,
that's my. That's what I would.
That's
do.
commandment number 2.
I'm going to swallow it whole this year, and the crap out.
All right.
Because there's more crap, so I might as well use it for fodder too. It's at that time of.
Nothing is wasted.
Nothing is wasted.
Yeah.
So. Yes, everything's a message from God. So go for it. Anyway, Happy New Year from me, and I won't get to see you until the New Year already. So, and Lon will go lots of times, so he doesn't have to talk about that till later.
Well, I know. I'm going to mention the first part of your talk about the infinitesimal and the total expansive thing is very Liber Nu and Liber Had. I just happen to have it right here in the car at the moment. So,
well, I didn't know what he was going to do.
Oh, I do. Well, when you're involved, I don't know what I'm going to do. But happy Boxing Day, dear.
I'm going shopping now.
Don't hit me any more in the face.
That's not what we do on Boxing Day. I knew he was going to lie the minute he started looking truthful. I learned that a long time ago.
Okay. Do you want me to flip this around?
Yes, please. I would have liked it a long time ago.
Oh, well, let's do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law.
Why are you quitting? Love is the law, love under will.
Well, I'm not quitting. I'm just sending you off with a good thought. Okay, I'm twisting this around.
Thank Checkers for their hard work.
There we go. I did it without cutting us off and making us watch 2 videos on Tuesday, I hope. Okay. I'm going to now sing my Boxing Day song.
No, he's not. See, he's lying again. He's a damn fool.
You get on in there. Don't just sitting there like a damn fool. I'm sorry. This is terribly silly. But she got me thinking, and what she described was exactly the goal, I guess, if there's a goal, or the purpose for two rituals of self-initiation that Crowley wrote, one called Liber Nu for Nuit, and one called Liber Had for Hadit. And they are both included in the book that I just happened to bring along this morning, The Magick of Aleister Crowley. Now, I wrote this book 31 years ago, okay, and it's been in print all along, and finally it has been reprinted last year, or the new edition was this beautiful new formatted, because it is now a Wiser Classic, in the Wiser Classic series. And I know I talk to many of you on Facebook every morning, and even more people usually every day when it's repeated on YouTube. And not everyone is familiar with Crowley or Thelema or the Thelemic magic, or even magic for that. But if you are or know someone that would like to have in one little nice little cheap bundle the founding documents, rituals, and essays, I guess, or some of them, of Thelema, it's all in this book. Well, starting with, I'm plugging the book, sorry. It's got Stele of Revealing in color. Okay. So if you want a Stele of Revealing front and back in color, there's more. You want the Book of the Law? You don't have a copy of the Book of the Law? The Book of the Law is in here. You want a copy of the Thelemic pentagram and hexagram rituals? They're in here. If you're not familiar with what the hell a pentagram or a hexagram ritual is, Thelemic or otherwise, it's in The Magick of Aleister Crowley. If you're interested in the other Thelemic rituals, including that Liber Nu and Liber Had that I'm referring to, they're in here. If you're interested in the Gnostic Mass, the whole Gnostic Mass is in here. The script for the Gnostic Mass is in here. The in one little bundle, and I of course comment on it, but I don't comment within the ritual itself. Okay, it's sort of like your one-stop shopping, especially if you're looking for one book that you can just tuck in your luggage and have all of the Thelemic essentials, if you will, in one volume. It's The Magick of Aleister Crowley. Okay, so, and if I can find the Liber Nu and Liber Had here, yes, here it is. It's in the chapter called Thelemic Mysticism. Finally, we come to two extraordinary works which are unique among the Class D rituals. In fact, all the rituals we've discussed so far could be considered as preparatory exercises to the high magic embodied in them. Liber Nu, and that's spelled N-V, and Liber Had, H-A-D, are the instructional papers for the invocations of the highest concepts of thelemic cosmology, Nuit and Hadit. And what Constance was describing with the feeling of being intensely small and when you stand in front of the Grand Canyon, or you feel intensely limitless and huge when you stand in front of the Grand Canyon. Neither one of them is incorrect. Indeed, both of them are profoundly true if you understand the significance of those two self-identities. Let's see. While these invocations are obviously magical in their execution, they are undeniably mystical in their essence. They require the magician not only to do something, but to be something. Quite simply put, to invoke Nuit, the magician must be Hadit. Nuit is the night sky, okay, the infinite space expand. Hadit is the point at the very center, the infinite point at the infinite center of the expanded cosmos. Quite simply put, to invoke Nuit, the magician must be Hadit, and to invoke Hadit, one must be Nuit. That's a pretty tall order, and most likely will not be the all-consuming preoccupation of most of the current inhabitants of our planet. Liber Nu and Liber Had are for the, quote, winners of the Ordeal X. And I have both the full text of Liber Nu and Liber Had for the and the very beginning of Liber Nu. This is the book of the cult of the infinite without. The aspirant is Hadit. Nuit is the infinite expansion of the rose. Hadit, the infinite concentration of the rood. Okay, so that's how Liber Nu starts, and there's exercises and meditations and visualizations. Liber Had, on the other hand, starts like this. This is the book of the cult of the infinite within. The aspirant is Nuit. Nuit is the infinite expansion of the rose. Hadit, the infinite concentration of the rood. Okay, rood is a pointy thing or a cross. Okay. That is a digression of unexpected and accidental that I even had that book here. But that reminded me of what Constance was trying to describe. The idea that across the abyss consciousness, some identified with in Magick, the master of the temple of consciousness of number 3, or the magus, the concentration, or consciousness of number 2, Hokmah, is that you accept everything. What goes into the cup of Babylon, what's been termed the blood of the martyrs or the blood of the saints, is everything. Everything is accepted as oneself. And it's not a matter of yourself going anywhere from below the abyss to above the abyss. No, it's an instantaneousness that occurs when you really get it and you finally accept everything. You instantly become homogeneous with being itself. Well, be that as it may, what I was going to do this morning, if you're still with us, let's see here, was the idea of working magically with other people. Ultimately, all your magic is done by yourself. People are walking by me here. But my good friend Rodney Orpheus, wrote a book called The Grimoire of Thelema. And he was generous enough to allow me to pen just a couple of words here, an introduction to it. But it got me thinking that one of the great things about Ordo Templi Orientis, at least my experience with Ordo Templi Orientis in the last 45, 46, 7 years, is that it gives you the opportunity and the challenges of working with other magicians, outwardly working with other magicians. Gnostic Mass, of course, is the main ceremonial event that you'd be obliged to work with other people. But the initiation ceremonies themselves, just like it takes a team of people to do Masonic initiations. Well, it takes a team to do OTO initiations too. The more social things, the extracurricular activities like the rites of Eleusis, where characters play different astrological roles, if you will, and each of those rites of Eleusis take on an initiatory, self-transformational effect on all the people that are doing the rituals together. But there are also other private Crowley rituals, ritual of the Mark of the Beast and things like that are all included in this book, that it seems like, well, this is something I have to learn, practice, memorize, do myself, but can also be applied to group workings if you have a little imagination, or Rodney's book, The Grimoire of Aleister Crowley. And I think it's especially important to keep the importance of that, the dynamic of a group working in mind when you start to encounter the bullshit crap that you have to put up with when you deal with other people. One of the greatest magical skills you learn when you do group rituals is being able to do group rituals. What you have to change to, not what you have to compromise or now, it's magic itself, the magic of dealing with other people. This is what I wrote for Rodney's foreword. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Magic is a lonely art. It must ever be so because ultimately we are each an universe unto ourselves. But whatever it is we are was alone when it incarnated into this corporeal dimension, and it'll be alone at the timeless instant we shuffle off this mortal coil. But as we labor through the measured ticks of space-time on this side of the pylons of birth and death, our whatever it is we are is surrounded and assailed by a vast assortment of other whatever it is we are, other monads of consciousness, who are also universes unto themselves. And some of these other universes are our fellow magicians. Excuse me. Magic is also, first and foremost, a self-transformational art. It may be that the magician's intent to effect changes in his or her outer circumstances, as example, I want the girl next door to fall in love with me, but the success of any magical operation designed to bring about that romantic outcome will most assuredly be in large part the consequences of the magician becoming transformed into the type of person the girl next door falls in love with. I'm sure there are knowledgeable and skilled magicians who'll disagree with my sweeping assertion that the only thing I can change with magic is myself. It's, of course, a statement that's impossible for me to prove or disprove, and frankly, I'm not inclined or motivated to try. I'm not trying to establish or defend magical doctrine. I simply know that for me, at this season of my life, at this moment in my magical career, the thing that needs to change the most in my world is me. I have to confess the prospect of magic being a form of consciously directed self-evolution was not what was initially attracted to me to the art so many years ago. Excuse me. Naturally, I told myself I was doing all of this to gain enlightenment, to achieve spiritual liberation. But in truth, it was the allure of wearing a black hooded robe and strutting around in the darkened temples, brandishing my wand and sword against terrible demons, cowering in terrified obedience before my radiant adeptship. Man, was I going to look cool doing that? No matter how noble and altruistic my conscious pretenses were, Lon Milo DuQuette, the post-adolescent magician, inwardly desired power. Power to master the cruel and chaotic circumstances of my life, power to right the wrongs I was witnessing in the world around me, power to set things straight and in harmony with my own obviously already enlightened vision of personal, moral, social, political, and spiritual absolutes. As comically deluded as I might have been, there is, of course, nothing fundamentally wrong with such youthful and militant idealism. Nothing wrong with wanting to change the world for the better and setting to work to do just that. I guess the biggest flaw in my aspirational game plan was that I was overlooking the fact that in order for me to use magic to begin making these changes, I would have to first consciously evolve into a real magician. As luck would have it, I would early on in my career come under the influence and tutelage of magicians who would, in their unique ways, either by positive example or negative example or admonition, make sure I never forgot this fundamental fact of life. Foremost among my senior mentors were Phyllis Seckler, or Soror Merrill, Grady L. McMurtry, Hymenaeus Alpha, 777, Helen Parsons Smith, Soror Grimaud, and Francis Israel Regarde. All of these dear people are now deceased. McMurtry and Regarde trained directly under Aleister Crowley, and Seckler had been the student of Jane Wolfe, a student of Crowley's and one-time resident of the famous Abbey of Thelema in Sicily. Parsons Smith was the double widow of Jack Parsons, the famed magician and rocket scientist, and Wilfred P. Smith. Both were at different times masters of Agape Lodge, OTO, in Southern California. These colorful people kept me from being entirely alone in the early years of my quest. Because of their efforts, but more often in spite of their efforts, I was, in the mid-1970s, baptized in the magic fire of Thelema. With their encouragement, cynicism, and guidance, I formally took up the disciplines of Crowley's magical orders, the AA and Ordo Templi Orientis. My AA work began under the guidance of Seckler and was, or should have been, entirely a private affair. My OTO experience, on the other hand, required me to work in a more public manner with other magicians all over the world. Sometimes many other magicians. In fact, an important aspect of OTO's magical curriculum is the development of the individual magician's ability to work in concert and survive. That's the hardest part. And survive within the complexities of a uniquely organized society populated by castes of militantly independent magicians, some of whom are as intractable, imperfect, and flawed as myself. It's a very important part of the magical training of an OTO initiate. As you might expect, Crowley didn't make the OTO ordeal an easy one. In fact, I've known more promising magicians to wreck on the shoals of the order's societal challenges than for any other reason. As if they're surprised that people are human, as if they're surprised that people are hypocrites, as if they're surprised that people are assholes. You're a hypocrite. You're an asshole. You're imperfect. Get over it. Work together. But I digress. More often than not, I usually come to see the wisdom and genius of Crowley's magical vetting process. Whether or not they've established a formal AA relationship, a great many OTO initiates and others who consider themselves Thelemic magicians embark on the study and practice of the various rituals Crowley developed for the edification of AA magicians. The systematic practice of these rituals vis-a-vis the magician's personal initiatory climb up the tree of life of consciousness is generally viewed in Thelemic circles as doing the work. The work is certainly there to do. The rituals and the commentaries are published in a plethora of sources, including, here it comes, including The Magick of Aleister Crowley. Just buy a box of these books, put them by your front door, and give them to people as they leave your house visiting. Say, take this with you. Take this with you, brother or sister. May it serve you well. Hey, it's Boxing Day. Let's see. Where was I before I broke into my being my pillow guy? Okay. The work is the rituals and a few commentaries are published in a plethora of sources. One of the finest collections is found in the magnificently ponderous Liber ABA Book 4. People call it the Blue Brick. But for many years, most of us relied almost exclusively on those ritual libers that appeared in the appendices of what was published as Magic in Theory and Practice. Armed with little more than these libers and the roadmap of the Tree of Life, 4 generations of magicians have set out alone on the thelemic path of return, dissecting, cross-referencing, and trying to make sense of the bewildering subtleties of Crowley's evolving thought. I say evolving thought because Crowley's thought evolved dramatically over the years. And although he was wise and outrageous at one part of his life, he would be wise in a different way and outrageous in a different way just a few years later. I'm digressing here. You almost have to have a general idea of the trajectory of Crowley's evolving life in order not to be constantly bombarded with contradictory statements or seemingly contradictory statements. So people will throw a quote from 1903 at you, because Crowley was writing in 1903, and try to justify or to refute something that he said in 1945. Okay? But I digress. And then attempting to transfer that understanding to the temple environment in coherent ceremonies that can be performed by and for the benefit of one person, you. To say it's a challenge to the lone magician would be a beastly understatement. Yes, magic is a lonely art, but it doesn't always need to be that lonely. I don't believe so, neither does my brother Rodney Orpheus. People, even magicians, sometimes need other people. There are moments in my life when I don't know what I am, where I am, or who I am, unless I can see myself momentarily reflected in the souls of others around me. The term thelemic group ritual may sound like an oxymoron, but it needn't be one. As Brother Orpheus reveals, many of Crowley's most significant rituals started out as group operations. For me, it's profoundly helpful, at times even necessary, to see the complex dynamics of my own inner magical mechanisms portrayed as different officers in a ritual. I can, and of course must, eventually integrate all these officers into myself. But first I have to know who they are, what they do, and what they mean to me. That's most easily and elegantly done by seeing them operate in a group drama. I took one look at Rodney's group ritual, treatments of the ritual of the Mark of the Beast, which is found in here, and the invocation of Horus, which is found in here. I can't help myself. And was thrown back in my chair in stunning admiration. My gods, why hasn't someone done this before? This might sound like a rhetorical question, but in fact, it does indeed have an answer. The reason someone hadn't done it before was because there are presently very few individuals living today who are qualified by education and experience to do so, and even fewer with the writing talent and communication skills to bring it all to life on the printed page. Brother Orpheus is the incarnation of both these aspects of genius. Whether he's expanding upon classic Crowley rituals or creating and developing his own thelemic ceremonies, the magician reader can be confident that he or she is in good hands. Magic may be a lonely art, but it doesn't mean we must always be alone on our journey. And it doesn't mean we won't always need friends. Love is the law, love under will. Again, that was the foreword to the Grimoire of Thelema by Rodney Orpheus. And I've included that in my collection of forewords that I've written to other authors whom I admire in Allow Me to Introduce. I'm plugging another book. Anyway, that's it for Boxing Day. If anyone is still left, I hope you enjoyed today's leftovers from Christmas dinner, and that you get yourself all ready to have a safe and sane New Year's Eve. And I certainly hope your 2004 is even better than your 2023, excuse me. Anyway, that's it for today. Continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will.